lot of flies around, and I told my boss. He thought it was an animal, so he get a stick and pull up a little bit of plastic, and then he ran to the store and told me it's a human person for the police.
Let me show you a picture. Does this girl look familiar to you?
No. Now, what is we getting at?
We're getting at the fact that that truck actually belongs to a girl from Sebring, right where you're from. We go from she's alive with you in Sebring to she's not alive here in Tampa.
I don't know where we going with this, and I don't want to say nothing to get myself in trouble. I've been truthful.
Laura Pietscher, a 28-year-old woman with a heart of gold, grew up in Michigan but moved to Sebring, Florida at the age of 26. Her selfless move was driven by love and dedication to help her aging grandmother, who could no longer manage the simplest tasks around the house. Described by family and friends as compassionate and selfless, Laura was the kind of person who always put others first. But in October 2018, this tight-knit community was shaken when the unthinkable happened. On the morning of Friday, October 19th, around 10 a.m., Tampa police received a chilling phone call. The reported location, a Latin food restaurant, would soon become the center of a tragic and haunting investigation.
Tampa 911.
Hi, you seen the police here.
What's the problem?
Used to people around here throw garbage in the back of the store. I saw a lot of flies around, and I told my boss. He thought it was an animal, so he get a stick and pull up a little bit of plastic, and then he ran to the store and told me it's a human person for the police.
They're coming. Stay on the phone with me till the police get there, okay?
Okay.
The 911 call reported a foul odor coming from the area near a headboard placed by a dumpster outside the restaurant. A worker, simply going about their routine to take out the trash, noticed the smell and decided to investigate. What they discovered would turn an ordinary morning into a nightmare. There, near the dumpster, they found a lifeless body. The victim was lying face down, partially nude, and disturbingly covered with a plastic bag, as if someone had tried to conceal the crime from view. She was wearing a dress, but it had been pulled down below her chest, and a pair of shorts had been lowered to her ankles. This horrific scene pointed to the cruelty and depravity of whoever was responsible. The victim's hands had been bound behind her back with a purse strap. Nearby, inside the dumpster, police found a clear plastic bag containing personal items, including a wallet. Inside that wallet was an ID card with a name, Laura Pietscher. Laura wasn't from Tampa. She lived in Sebring, Florida, a 2-hour drive from where her body had been found. Investigators also noticed something else. Her silver Toyota pickup truck, registered in her name, was missing from the scene. This detail raised even more questions in a case that was already as tragic as it was unsettling. Laura's body was sent to the medical examiner for an autopsy where chilling details emerged. Clear ligature marks around her neck indicated she had been strangled with a rope. Unfortunately, due to the state of decomposition, finding any DNA evidence proved challenging for investigators. The condition of her body suggested she had been left near the dumpster for several days before she was discovered. Investigators turned their attention to Laura's home in Sebring, known for being impeccably clean and organized. True to form, they found everything in perfect order, nothing out of place, and no signs of a struggle. But one critical detail stood out. Laura's silver Toyota truck wasn't parked in the driveway. Authorities quickly issued a be on the lookout alert for the missing vehicle, suspecting that whoever had taken Laura's life might also be driving her truck. As the investigation deepened, phone records from Laura's last days offered a clue. On Wednesday, just days before her body was found, Laura had several late-night phone calls between 2 and 4 a.m. The calls were traced to a man named Vidal, Laura's on and off boyfriend. At the same time, officers received a crucial lead. Laura's truck had been located. It had been involved in a hit-and-run incident, adding yet another layer to this already complex and tragic case. Laura's missing truck was located just 3 miles from where her body had been discovered, abandoned near a convenience store. Investigators immediately reviewed the store's surveillance footage, hoping it would reveal who had been driving the truck. The footage showed the truck pulling into the parking lot. A man sitting in the passenger seat exited the vehicle and walked into the store. The video, though grainy, captured the suspect keeping his head down, deliberately avoiding the cameras. After leaving the store, the man re-entered the truck, which then drove away. Unfortunately, the driver remained out of view, leaving investigators without a clear picture of who else had been inside. The truck was just 2 minutes away from the convenience store. Inside the vehicle, officers discovered a man sitting in the passenger seat. He was identified as Calvin Gary. The Toyota truck bore visible damage from the earlier hit-and-run incident, but the driver was nowhere to be found. Calvin, however, turned out to be a person of interest. He was on parole and wearing an ankle monitor, a potential breakthrough for investigators. This device could provide a detailed record of Calvin's movements throughout the day, possibly shedding light on what happened to Laura. When investigators questioned Calvin about why he was in a truck that didn't belong to him, his story was surprising. He claimed that he and his friend, who went by the nickname Hot, had been hanging out and decided to go on a beer run. Calvin said they had pulled over, and Hot got out of the truck, telling Calvin he'd be back soon. Calvin insisted he had never met Laura and had no idea how Hot had gotten the truck. He explained that he had simply been picked up by Hot and that the two were just drinking and hanging out. Investigators pressed Calvin for more details about his friend. Calvin described Hot as a short African-American man who liked to spend time in the North Tampa area. Using data from Calvin's ankle monitor, investigators were able to confirm that Calvin wasn't their primary suspect. While he had been in Laura's truck, the GPS showed he had never been near the location where her body was found, or her home in Sebring. Calvin was cleared, but his friend Hot became their new person of interest. The case took another turn when investigators received a tip from one of Laura's friends. They mentioned that Laura often liked to hang out at a local bar called the Wild Hog. The bar's manager confirmed this, describing Laura as a regular and a friend. He recalled seeing her for the last time on Tuesday, October 16th. She had been in good spirits that evening, dressed nicely, happy, and bubbly, but just days later, her life would tragically end. Surveillance footage from the Wild Hog captured Laura on her last known visit to the bar. She arrived wearing the same dress she would later be found in behind the dumpster. The footage showed Laura sitting in a corner, chatting with the bartender. She didn't order any alcohol, but did grab something to eat and stayed for a few hours, casually talking. Throughout the video, Laura interacted only with the bartender, and nothing appeared unusual. She left the Wild Hog around 11 p.m., seemingly heading home. But then, a new lead emerged. A patron told the bar manager that he saw Laura hours after she left, around 2:45 a.m., at a gas station with a man. The manager relayed this information to investigators, noting that the man Laura was with went by the nickname Shorty. Surveillance footage from the gas station confirmed the sighting. Laura's truck was seen pulling into the station, but Laura herself never got out. Instead, a man exited the truck, a face familiar to investigators. The man was Gary Danielle, a known associate of both Hot and Calvin. The video showed Gary purchasing something inside the store before returning to Laura's truck. He then got back into the driver's seat, reversed out of the parking lot, and drove toward the highway. Gary's connection to Hot and Calvin, combined with his appearance in Laura's truck, made him a person of significant interest, but when Laura's truck was found days later, Gary was nowhere to be found. A ripped-up ATM receipt found in the dumpster near Laura's body provided investigators with a crucial lead. Although torn, the receipt contained just enough information to trace it back to a specific transaction. Around the same time, a nearby license plate reader pinged Laura's truck, confirming its presence in the area of the ATM. Surveillance footage from a Circle K gas station tied everything together. The video showed Laura's truck pulling into the parking lot. But once again, Laura herself was nowhere to be seen. Instead, Gary Danielle, also known as Shorty, was captured on camera exiting the driver's side of her truck. Multiple camera angles confirmed Gary's movements. He was seen using the ATM, buying a soda, and then getting back into the truck before driving off. But Laura never appeared in any of the footage. This haunting discovery led investigators and Laura's family to a grim theory. They believed Laura's lifeless body was already in the bed of the pickup truck while Gary casually ran his errands. With mounting evidence against him, Gary was located and brought in for questioning. But the mystery of what truly happened to Laura was far from solved.
How did you guys come to have the truck?
I came up on the truck because I seen the keys in the truck.
Okay.
And I didn't see nobody around it, so I just drove the truck. That's the only thing I did. Only thing we did beer runs. And we was like riding around and we got pulled over.
How long had you been in that truck? Like how many days?
I can't even say.
You're not sure how many days?
No, man, I can't even say that.
Have you left at all from Tampa once you came here?
No.
No? Haven't gone anywhere? Not back to Sebring, nowhere else? All right. Let me show you a picture. Does this girl look familiar to you?
No, man. Now, what is we getting at?
We're getting at the fact that that truck actually belongs to a girl from Sebring, right where you're from. Okay, I got you on video at the Shell station in Sebring last week, not in Tampa. Okay, in her truck. With her. And ultimately, I find her like this in Tampa. How do we go from she's alive with you in Sebring to she's not alive here in Tampa?
I don't know where we going with this, and I don't want to say nothing to get myself in trouble. I've been truthful.
The final pieces of evidence would seal Gary Danielle's fate. Investigators collected DNA samples from Gary and compared them to the evidence found at the scene. The results were damning. Gary's DNA was discovered under Laura's fingernails, and both his and Laura's blood were found inside her truck. With this undeniable evidence, Gary Danielle was charged on March 19, 2019, with first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and theft of a motor vehicle. In court, a timeline of Laura's tragic final moments was pieced together. After leaving the Wild Hog at 11 p.m., Laura reportedly went to downtown Tampa to spend time with friends. On her way home, she encountered Gary at a stoplight where he was begging for money. True to her kind-hearted nature, Laura gave him a few singles, but instead of showing gratitude, Gary took advantage of her generosity. Gary forced his way into Laura's truck, compelling her to drive to a secluded area. There, he robbed her and assaulted her in a heinous act of violence. He then used a lace strap he had with him to strangle Laura, taking her life in an unimaginable act of cruelty. On August 21, 2019, Gary accepted a plea deal, reducing his charge to second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison. 30 years for taking the life of someone as compassionate and selfless as Laura Pietscher. For many, this punishment felt far from adequate, a diabolical injustice for such a senseless and horrific crime.